Today on the spot, we take a look at the latest coming to Xbox Live and PC and bust some caps with a demo for Homefront and an interview for Operation Flashpoint Red River. Ricardo Torres interviews winners from the Indie Game Challenge at DICE, and we sit down with Rockstar and talk LA Noire. Hey Sean, this one's for you.
You've seen us act like idiots. This is Homer acting like an idiot.
Today on the spot.
Welcome, folks, to the GameSpot studios. I'm your host, Chris Waters. Joining me over in the chair, Carolyn Pettit. Welcome, Carol.
Good to be here.
As you heard at the beginning of the show, like really a lot of stuff on the show today.
A lot of stuff.
We got shooters aplenty.
Yes.
And, just a whole bunch of this week ons.
Yeah.
Also.
Yes. And who wouldn't want to just watch all of this stuff without the need for any, possible physical, tangible reward waiting for them at the end?
That's true.
Right?
Interesting illusion. Can you figure out what she's talking about? I don't know. Let's go to the news team for the latest headlines.
Hello, this is your GameSpot news update for Thursday, February 17th. I'm Tom Magrino, filling in for Tor Thorson. Double Fine has found the way to Sesame Street, and it's through a partnership with Warner Brothers. The Tim Schafer-led studio behind Psychonauts, Brutal Legend, Costume Quest, and the recent Stacking is making a Kinect title based in the Sesame Street universe. Sesame Street Once Upon a Monster will debut on the Xbox 360 for Microsoft's Kinect during fall 2011. Players will join famous Sesame Street characters Elmo, Cookie Monster, and others as they explore an interactive story. Players will encounter and befriend monsters, solve problems, and learn, quote, key life skills throughout their adventures. There was also a bit of confusion today about Portal 2 and the PlayStation Move motion controlling system. An article on the German PlayStation blog quotes a Valve writer as revealing that the game will have, quote, full support for the PlayStation Move. Though he promised eventual complete Move support, the writer did warn that, quote, Move is a completely new experience for us, so the system is not yet fully integrated into Portal 2. Valve later revealed that the Move would not be integrated into Portal 2 at all. Valve said, quote, there's a story making the rounds regarding Portal 2 support for the PS3 Move. Unfortunately, this quote was lost in translation. Portal 2 does not include support for Sony's motion controller. Oh well, would have been nice, no? Alright, that does it for today. For more on these stories and other news headlines, head on over to news.gamespot.com.
All right, now as you folks know, Wednesday is the day of new Xbox Live stuff.
Yes.
Right? So what came out this week on Xbox Live? That we were talking about?
I almost said Contra Hardcore, but it doesn't actually have Contra in the title. It's Hardcore Uprising.
Uprising,
yes,
that's right.
A Contra game in spirit only, extraordinarily difficult, but still fun for some good side-scrolling, two-player.
If you really are looking to get into it and beat your head against the wall, but then eventually you break the wall with your head. I think that's kind of like what this game is like.
Yes, absolutely. But Hardcore Uprising isn't the only thing new this week. Let's take a look at all the new stuff this week on Xbox Live.
This week on Xbox Live, in arcade, try Hardcore Uprising. Retro is the name of the game in this new 2D side-scroller. Play as a skilled soldier and battle in the grueling trenches of arcade mode or in the all-new Rising mode. In games on demand, feed the addiction with Modern Warfare 2. If you haven't played this game, you probably don't have electricity. But now that the power of the Electron has come to your hometown, you can download it. Combining Hollywood-style action and competitive and cooperative multiplayer, this game literally made $1 billion. Afterwards, indulge your franchise geek with Aliens vs. Predator. In this 3-part story, experience the same events from human, alien, and predator perspectives. Afterwards, take your interspecies murderous rage online and blast, claw, and flame your opponents into submission. Then keep up the species murder and Rapala tournament fishing. In 40,000 years, fish still haven't figured out that hook equals death, and that's good for you. Prove your superiority over aquatic life by winning trophies. In-game demos, crank that throttle in the nailed demo. Grab a set of wheels and battle for position on 14 insane tracks. Make death-defying leaps that would kill a lesser driver. In downloadable content, highlights this week include the extra map pack 1 for Mindjack and new moves and beats for Dance Central. In Video Marketplace, a host of upcoming games have trailers, including The Dishwasher VS, Hunted the Demon's Forge, Dragon Age 2, and Bulletstorm.
Our language is a little colorful.
Sweet Echo were the premier town.
Grayson Hunt's kind of a
I told you to rig these to blow, not check email.
Robot hit.
Super kick you in the face.
Unredeemable self-serving.
Sorry. I'm sorry. That son
Suicide.
That's all the time we have, folks. Join us next week for more This Week on Xbox Live.
All right, folks, now we're going to move into the demo section of the show, and we've got 2 shooters to take a look at today. The first of which is Homefront. It takes place in a near future scenario in which North Korea has become this giant empire that has crossed the Pacific, sort of besieged the United States, and it's that premise that really kind of draws it to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was watching Sean actually play some of the game yesterday, and that was what struck me about it, was like there really seemed to be trying to create an authentic feel to the kind of small town America locations in which the combat is taking place.
Yeah, that was something that Resistance 2 did really well. I liked it a lot. So let's see how Homefront is shaping up in our daily demo.
Game demo.
Hey everyone, and welcome to our daily demo. I am joined by Rex from Chaos Studios here in the studio to show us Homefront. Welcome, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having us.
All right, so last time we saw this was at E3, and you have brought in a new level to show us today?
Same level, but we're going to show you the second half of the level that we
Okay.
showed you the first half of at E3.
All right, let's just jump right in and kind of take a look and see where we're at right now.
So here we go. What you can see here is the inside of a Tiger Direct store, which the Resistance has just fight through. To give you some context, what we're doing here is we're going to place these tracking devices on these fuel tankers, which the Resistance has learned the Koreans have in this area. And by placing the tracking devices on these tankers, we can eventually chase them down and attempt to steal their fuel.
So you're continuing from the level that we've seen before.
Correct.
Now, so for those who are kind of still figuring out about the game, so how's the story set up? Like, what's the story about?
Well, the story itself is about, the foreign occupation of America and generally these civilian freedom fighters who have chosen to fight back. And the overall story is about this plan that they have to steal this fuel from the Koreans and deliver it to remnants of the US military who are trying to launch a counterattack in San Francisco. So this is the part of the process where we're actually going after the fuel which the US military needs. And right here you see the fuel tankers are actually pulling out of the station, and I'm going to have to sprint to catch up to them.
If you missed this, you have to do it again.
Yeah, and there's my tracking beacon. You see it blinking there. So I've tagged the trucks. Now I'm going to regroup with my squad here.
I find it interesting that's a TigerDirect.com.
Yeah, real world brands in the game. We have Hooters, we have White Castle.
They serve you little sliders and you go.
And the whole idea there is just making the environment, the world, seem believable and familiar to people. So the Koreans were storing fuel in this store, and as a result of our fight through the store, we've ignited some of that fuel, and the store has largely caught fire.
Oh.
Okay, so now we're going to be fighting our way back through this store. We have to now escape.
So are you using cover a lot in this game?
You pretty much have to. One of the things with being a civilian freedom fighter is we didn't want this to be a run and gun game where you could just charge through, charge heading into enemy fire. So you do have to be pretty defensive in this game, use cover. We're pretty quick to send you to low health, but the regen time is also very fast to counterbalance it. So now the store's on fire, and it's really our only escape option. So we'll see there's a lot of fuel barrels here I can use. You can see there's this crashed helicopter that our Goliath shot down earlier in the level. And we'll just follow our squad through the burning store here. But the problem with the store is it's been abandoned for many, many years since the invasion and the collapse of democracy. So you can see that the roof's got a giant hole in it where there's been a cave-in.
Oh, wow.
And the whole thing is burning down. Pieces of it collapsing. There's a burning enemy. Give him the long knife, put him out of his misery.
Now, what can you tell us about the weapons that we'll find?
So a lot of the weapons are very familiar. We're a near future game. We're not a sci-fi game. So you'll find very familiar SMGs, M4s, M16s, and a few other things, but it's basically stuff that you're used to and stuff that's familiar. The classic guns of the FPS genre.
So why North Korea? I mean, usually People don't usually go there in video games. This is one of the first.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of what makes it interesting is that, like, chief among, countries that America fears or doesn't understand, North Korea was high up among them.
Yeah, well, no one understands them if they're so
right.
isolated.
And, a Middle Eastern country's been done a bunch of times, and, we explored China, but we really thought like North Korea offered us a much more interesting option for who the enemy was. And very few games have, used North Korea before, so all those reasons tied into it. Also, the idea in the game is that it's not just North Korea, it's actually North Korea who's now taken over South Korea and Japan, so you're really fighting a pan-Asian force.
Right. Yeah, and I read somewhere that Japan was going to censor parts of the game, like when it's going to be released, and you guys, for the North American release, is there going to be something similar?
Completely uncensored for North America.
Okay, so everything that was in the game originally planned is going to...
That's correct.
Yeah. All right, cool. So what's happening now?
So the squad's talking about their next plan of action here, and we're going to head out onto this rooftop and make our escape. The only issue here is that the resistance forces in the parking lot are pinned down, and in order to escape the parking lot, they're going to need some backup, some support. And in order to do that, we're going to bring in some vehicles to help us out, and you'll see the Goliath is actually on display pretty heavily in this fight. So now we're back on the roof of the Tiger Direct where we started the mission. And what you'll see here as we come around the corner is that the battle is still raging. You see our Goliaths out there. Here come the trucks that are supposed to transport the resistance out.
Okay.
And while my squad runs down there to make their escape, I'm going to use Goliath to attack some of these enemies.
That's handy.
Yeah, and I can also engage here with a sniper rifle if I want.
Are there other vehicles that you'll be able to play with?
Yes, actually there is. We're not revealing a lot yet, but one of the big premises of the story and the reason why your character is recruited is because he's a helicopter pilot and the Resistance needs a helicopter pilot. So you can imagine that that is going to come into play. So here are the trucks that are transporting the Resistance out, and in classic fashion they are leaving without me. So I'll have to catch up here.
Sprint.
Get a hand up. And we make our escape. Now you can see the Goliath is chasing us. He's following, doing our rear guard action.
Yeah.
So we leave the store behind, and you'll see some pursuit vehicles come into play here.
So action-packed chase sequence.
Yep. And we got Goliath is sort of covering our rear. Now he relies on the player to call out targets, mark targets for him. Although he's AI driven and AI controlled in terms of where he drives, his weapon systems are completely dependent on user input.
Oh, okay, so you're kind of controlling both right now yourself.
Here comes an attack helicopter, which is a much bigger threat, so I'm going to go after him. And hopefully our Goliath will shoot him down in time.
And you mentioned before, this is a never-seen-before level.
This part of the level has never been seen before. And so now we've just destroyed that overpass and blocked off our escape route, which leads us to the end of our level here.
Excellent.
And this is the end of the first half of the game.
All right, great. So when's the game coming out and on what platform?
The game is coming out March 15th. We're on the Xbox 360, we're on the PS3, and we're on the PC.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you.
All right, and that was our look at Homefront. And now on with the rest of the show.
So that was a look at Homefront. Now GDC is right around the corner, Chris, as you well know.
Indeed.
Any exciting stuff happening there that you're looking forward to?
Well, GDC is not like E3 or something, Tokyo Game Show, where the focus is squarely on big games, right?
Okay.
What you see, most of the games you see there are part of the Independent Games Festival, which allows us to see really cool stuff that's not got a publisher, not got millions of dollars behind it, but can still be really creative.
Well, I think we have actually a look at some of that stuff right now, brought to us by our own Marco Martinez. Let's see what's new this week on PC.
This week on PC, we have Independent Games Festival Student Showcase winners Toys and Fracked, and your download of the week. Toys is a spatial awareness puzzle game. Each puzzle contains a certain amount of displaced cubes that you must arrange back into their original position simultaneously. There are no buttons. Instead, you use your mouse to move the cubes around. There are 12 puzzles in all, and the lower the score, the better. You achieve a lower score if you're able to solve the puzzle in the lowest time possible. This game is browser-based and no install required. There's a high replay value, especially when you try to beat your own personal records. Next, we have Student Showcase winner Fracked. Fracked is a first-person puzzle game set in an abstract, colorful polygon world where you resurrect old machines that lead you down a mysterious path. The art really sucks you in after the first puzzle, as you're sent on a moving platform around your Tron Mist-inspired world. Fract is in its beta form and available to download for the PC and Mac on the developer's website. Last but not least, we have your download of the week. Dungeons has released a playable demo for their soon-to-be released game. The demo includes 3 single-player levels and a survival mode map. The demo has a quick install and is available on the GameSpot downloads page. For more games like this, check out the GameSpot downloads page. I'm Marco Martinez, and that's it for this week on PC.
Well, folks, GDC and the IGF aren't the only places you can find independent games, as we found out when we went on location at DICE. Check it out.
Hey everybody, DICE might be over, but we decided to hang out and check out the second annual Indie Game Challenge, which takes place right after DICE here in Las Vegas. What you've got here is a competition for independent game developers that's broken up into 3 categories: professional, non-professional, and browser-based. Just on the stage behind me, the ceremony's just taken place. They've named 3 winners, 1 in each category, and we've had a chance to talk to them. Hey everybody, it's Ricardo, and we are here at the Indie Game Challenge, and I'm standing with Team ZZZ, who just won the Congregate Best Browser Award for their game, Simon. So, first question, how'd you guys all get into this?
Well, we were all a part of an internship at Gambit MIT, and we all met together. We all met through that.
Now, entering any kind of a competition just kind of requires that drive. So what really inspired you to kind of go for this and do something so unique?
I don't know. A lot of it was inspired by our research at MIT, but we all felt very strongly about the concept of procedural generation, and we all were, we all emotionally connected to our story of our main character Simon. So, we just drew inspiration mostly from that.
I think it's just because we were all in it from the beginning. From the very, very first stages of the game to the last minute, we were all in it together. So that's probably a big part of it.
Now, we kind of touched on it already, but how's it feel like to win? You guys got interviewed, you got fancy awards, you got some cool prizes.
I mean, it feels great. It's an honor. I know it's a stereotype, but it's an honor to be here with everybody. All these games are fantastic. I was playing them earlier. They're all great. All these developers are great developers, great people. It feels great to win. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, I don't think it occurred to any of us that, while we were making the game, that we would be here. We were working very hard, but, we didn't think like, this could win the Indie Game Challenge. That wasn't what we were thinking when we were making the game. We just wanted to make a good game.
And we're here with Evan Skuren from Team Hermes, who won the non-professional award here at the Indie Game Challenge for Inertia. Now, tell us about what drove you to kind of put yourself in a position where you're competing.
Well, it was actually a joint effort. We had 2 teams that worked on this game. I was part of the initial team, and being students from the Guildhall at SMU, we had 2 months to work on the initial game, and that was it. We were done. A second team came up to us from the Guildhall. They were in the production track. They said, "Hey, can we take your game and get it on Xbox Live Indie channel?" And we're like, "Okay, sure, let's go for it." And so they put it up there, and once we were able to get on the Indie channel, we said, maybe we should just submit this to the Indie Game Challenge. It really was that casual. We didn't plan on entering this from the beginning. We didn't even plan on entering it into a contest. It really was from the get-go just getting on Indie channel. And so that's how it worked.
So in addition to these fine Lucite awards, there is a large novelty check.
Yes.
So you won some money too. So big question, what's next? What do you want to do?
Well, there were actually 3 of us that formed an LLC. Coming into here when we heard we were finalists, we're like, okay, we got to get this squared away just in case something happens. And so now that something has happened, definitely look out for us. We want to develop this more, and we definitely plan to. So that's where we're going with it, and we'll see what we're able to produce.
Hey everybody, we're back speaking to another winner from the Indie Game Challenge. I'm speaking with Dino Patti from Play Dead, who I'm sure all of our readers know made the fabulous Limbo. And as if it didn't get enough awards already, he's sitting here with the fat check. He won the professional award here for the $100,000. So Tell us about what it's like to win yet another award for this game. Did you guys know you're working on something special?
Yeah. Now you say my award, it's actually our award because, you know, it's the whole team and especially my partner's sake that we, you know, we're here on the podium. No, we didn't know we were going to win anything, you know. We loved the game while we were building it, and we just hoped that people would like it when it came out. And I heard they did.
Now, as far as the team, can you tell us a little about the guys that aren't here? Because you are one of how many?
Yeah, I'm one out of 10 full-time employees. And the other team members, you know, everybody has a specific role on the team. Everybody does something which is critical. And, you know, this is truly a team effort. And it's truly the work of Arndt's. What you feel in the game is, you know, a bit of Arndt's personality. And that's what I think, you know, people really liked about it. The feelings and, you know, the mood.
All right, well, thank you very much. You know, we're going to let you go spend that check because we are in Vegas. And we wish you all the best, and we'll see you at GDC. All right, well, there you go. That is a quick word with all three of the winners from tonight. You should keep your eyes on them because we will. We hope to catch up with them at GDC. But until then, you should check out their games and check out for more information on the site.
All right, Caro, so up next we've got our second shooter demo, and this one is a distinctly different tone, whereas Homefront is sort of that modern FPS, you know, you're the hero type game. Operation Flashpoint Red River is a more hardcore, more tactical shooter simulation. Have you played any shooters like that recently?
Absolutely not. Not exactly sounding like my cup of tea. You know, I like to absorb bullets and then have my health recharge type of thing.
Yeah, you like melee attacks.
You know, yeah.
This is the kind of game where, like, if you engage an enemy at 200 yards, it's really close.
Okay.
Or at least Operation Flashpoint Dragon Rising was. I'm interested to see how this one's shaping up.
Yeah, me too. It sounds intriguing. And actually, our friends at the GameSpot UK, as part of their Start Select show, have an exclusive first look.
The red rain's falling hard on us, gentlemen, and we need to make a stand now or we can forget Tajikistan. PLA's pushing strong through western areas of the country, so it's time to push back.
I'm Tim Brown, Principal Games Designer on Operation Flashpoint Red River, and I'm here to talk about it today.
It's the percussion and the booming soundtrack to war.
So Red River is all about you being a member of a fire team and the fire team leader in a conflict set in Tajikistan, which is a fictional conflict set in 2013. You're part of the United States Marine Corps, and the game is based around 4-player co-op throughout the campaign and 4 different FTE game modes. In Red River, the first thing we looked at was accessibility. One of the things that you'll notice is there's now tutorials to help the player, guide the player, nurture them. We've introduced a brand new character called Staff Sergeant Knox, who will tell the player what they're doing wrong if they're doing something wrong. We're aware that we have varying different levels of players who want to play our game. The people who are more used to more arcadey shooters are going to want to play on the normal difficulty setting. You can customize that by turning all sorts of different things off, including the aim assists, different HUD elements that will help and guide the player. Now for the more experienced player, there is experienced game mode, and that has less checkpoints to use and certain aim assists already disabled. And then for the absolute hardcore creme de la creme of the players who really want a challenge, you can choose hardcore. Now that has absolutely nothing on the screen. You don't know where the enemies are going to be or where they are. All you can rely on is your fire team or your co-op friends that you're playing with. If I'm playing the mission and I'm finding something particularly tricky, or I see you come online and then you're able to just jump in and I say, right, can you pick the CQB guy or the scout because he's really good at long range and I'm having difficulty picking off these guys in the distance. You can just come in, choose your loadout that you particularly like, choose the weapons, the equipment, the B mods and specializations. It's just so much more fun to play with friends.
Kill it! Alpha's gonna cover you from the high ground. Charlie will cover you from the left. Charlie's in position on the left flank, waiting further instructions. This is Alpha Team!
So we took a lot of cues from shows like Generation Kill, documentary movies like Restrepo, and looked at all the different elements that make up being in the United States Marine Corps, and looking at what elements we could take and bring to the game to make it as authentic as possible, but also making it a game that people are going to want to play, that isn't just bogged down in realism and realism only.
Fire in the hole! See you at home, actual out.
I'm Tim Brown, Principal Games Designer on Operation Flashpoint Red River. We're in the final stages of Red River development. We are just sorting out the last few bugs. We're basically polishing the game, and it should be ready to go very, very soon.
And finally, folks, as if we haven't packed enough good stuff in today already, we've got an interview for one of the hottest games coming out this year, LA Noire.
Interview.
My name is Rob Nelson, and I'm an art director at Rockstar Games.
LAPD, could you stand clear of the body, please?
Well, we've always loved the genre, I think both the team at Rockstar and the team at Bondi. And, you know, we wanted to do this game about being a detective and about being able to interrogate people and try and figure out whether they were lying or not, and, you know, investigating crime scenes, picking up clues, and putting pieces together.
What have we got?
I think at a high level, it is the original vision. You know, it's always meant to be a detective story where you go to crime scenes, you look at evidence, you interview people, and you have to figure out, you know, whether the evidence that you're finding is relevant and whether the people that you're talking to are telling the truth. At times there are, you know, action elements in between that, whether it's driving from case to case or whether it's chasing somebody or getting into a gunfight or whatever. It's always been those sort of three elements of interviewing, inspecting, and then action. And I think we always wanted to blend those things, and we needed them to feel seamless and believable. And so everything has been in pursuit of that goal. I think we're there. We developed a completely new means of capturing facial animation for this game to make sure that we could get believable performances so that you could judge whether somebody was being truthful or not. And so that was always a goal, and we spent a lot of time refining that and making it work in the game, and then and making it feel seamless so that you see it in the game world when you're walking around. People are talking to you and they look real, and when you have close-up interviews with them, they look real. And then with the clues, you know, we didn't want it to feel separate from walking around a crime scene, controlling it, you know, in a third-person's manner like we're all used to bending over and picking up something and inspecting it and analyzing it closely for further detail. We wanted that to feel like just an extension of normal gameplay. So there was a lot of work invested in making that feel right.
Put down your weapons! The bank is surrounded!
We always thought it could be and would be something very special and very different. It's what we wanted it to be, and we worked really hard and always kept that in mind while we were doing it. And so, you know, I guess there was lots of speculation about what it would be, and now that we're starting to talk about it and release information, I think people are getting it. And that's the main thing, is we just want people to understand that it really is something different, and we're trying to sort of fuse different types of gameplay from games in the past to the way games are now, and this new technology, and make something that feels very cohesive but very new and very different. It's a very playable or watchable experience. You can play this game with your partner or your friends, and it's not a co-op game, but it feels like that. It's very easy to sit with people, and while you're doing interviews, you know, your friends or whatever are actually driving and telling you he's lying or he's telling the truth, or you know, whatever, telling you what to do, and it's super engaging like that. So, you know, I think it really is the type of game that you can play and other people can watch and other, you know, people can enjoy, and we've tried to make sure that we're making it accessible to more than just a, you know, sort of a hardcore gamer, while still making sure that that group is satisfied as well. So we have some different difficulty options and things like that to handle it. LA Noire is going to be out on May 17th in the US and May 20th in the UK, and it's available for PS3 and 360.
Woo! And that's the end of our Big Fat Thursday show. Hope you folks enjoyed it. I certainly did.
So did I.
Absolutely. Now, Caro, can you give us something to look forward to this Saturday? Give folks a reason to come on back to the top.
You bet. Marvel vs. Capcom 3, very big right now. I'm playing a lot of online, getting my ass kicked by people who are maybe not the most sportsman-like of competitors.
Ooh.
Come back on Saturday. We're going to have some tips and tricks on how to deal with those particular competitors in the online arena.
That sounds very helpful. And we'll also have a demo on Saturday for MotoGP 1011 for all you motorcycle fans out there. Now, thank you for joining us once again. I'm your host, Chris Waters.
I'm Caro Pettit.
And we'll see you this weekend, folks. Have a good one. And thank you very much for that news update tour. Now, on to the news of the day is what I was going to say. That would be stupid. This one's called Homefront, and it sort of deals with the near future alternate history. Well, I guess it can't be history, it's in the future.